Sean O'Malley should retire after UFC 316. That's what a lot of people have been saying on the internet right now. And I thought I'd just kind of go through the whole card, what just went down, and if I think Sean O'Malley should retire. So let's go through the whole card. You know, this is like literally right after I just watched the card. So this is an immediate reaction to the whole card. Well, not really the whole card because I only watched the main event. So let's go through it. So first fight, I believe, was Vicente Luque. Vicente. Whatever. Luque versus Kevin Holland. And I thought Luque would win. Like, I thought Luque was going to win because I wasn't convinced that Kevin Holland was really back, especially after his two performances at middleweight. And even though he had, like, a decent performance against Gunnar Nelson, let's be real. I mean, Gunnar Nelson, like, before he had that fight against Kevin Holland, I think his last fight was, like, back in 2019. So I wasn't really confident. I'm like, okay, you know what? I think that Vicente Luque should be able to beat Kevin Holland. I mean, obviously, Vicente Luque has a lot of finishes. You know, he's a well-rounded guy. And I wasn't so sure if Kevin Holland was really back at it, if he was really hungry. But, I mean, he did really good. I mean, he was pretty much just piecing up Luque. Luque just looked really slow. I'm not going to lie. Luque looked really slow. And I'm sure that, like, with Kevin Holland just talking to him the whole time, that didn't really help in his favor. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought Luque looked really slow. I thought Kevin looked really fast. And just that submission that he got out of nowhere in the second round was pretty insane. So, I mean, I got to give it up to, you know, Kevin Holland. Like, he's been doing really good. And I hope he kind of just stays at welterweight. I think that's what he wants to do. Because honestly, like, what? He's like 32 years old, right? So if I was him, I would just, like, you know, keep fighting at welterweight. Because he could probably get, like, a, you know, title shot. Who knows, right? I mean, he's talented. He has what it takes. But, again, it's just about the hard work at the end of the day. So, yeah, I thought that was a pretty good fight. Next fight was Patchy versus Mario Bautista. And I knew that Mario Bautista was going to win. I had him to win. And he looked really, really good. I know a lot of people hate Mario Bautista after his fight against Jose Aldo. And to be honest with you, like, a lot of people just, like, overreacted about that. You know, like, at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to win. And it's kind of Jose Aldo's fault for not being able to get off the wall properly. I mean, you have a lot of experience, you know, especially, like, on the wall. So you should be able to get out of it, no problem. But I don't know. I think the, like, hate was just too much. And it was crazy because, like, even though, like, the fight was actually a really good fight, like, Mario Bautista, you know, looked amazing. You know, Patchy you know, like, Patchy was still putting on a fight, but, like, I don't know. I don't think Patchy lived up to the hype. Everyone was like, oh yeah, Patchy is super good. He has really good jiu-jitsu, and then he just doesn't really do shit. And he's, like, so flat-footed, and he has, like, no head movement. So I don't know why they were hyping up this dude. It's not to take anything away from Mario Bautista, though, because he just looked so good on the feet. He looked so crispy. And honestly, he's probably going to be, you know, a threat later on. Like, I think if he gets, like, another 2 wins, I think he's pretty much in the title talks by that point. So, yeah, I mean, it was overall a really good win from him. And, you know, you can't really call him boring. And, yeah, it was just a really, really good win. You know, nothing really too much. I thought, again, Patchy like, was okay. But, like, everyone was hyping up way too much. And it's just like, okay, well, he's just, like, okay-ish. He wasn't really all that. So that's how I thought of that fight. Now, the next fight is between Joe Pyfer and Kelvin Gastelum. And I had Kelvin to win this fight because, you know, it just kind of, like, he's kind of relatable, man. Like, he loves food. I love food. You know, he kind of has a bit of a gut, and I have a bit of a gut, and he doesn't like to cut, and I also don't like to cut. So, you know, I relate to Kelvin, and I relate to his struggles, especially when it comes to food. I mean, we all love food, right? So, you know, a lot of people had him out, you know, against Joe Pyfer because Kelvin's like 5'8" in the middleweight division. He's like a ball of fat, and like Joe Pyfer is like 6'4" and just super jacked. But like it was what, like Kelvin was like a 300 underdog or something like that, and the fight was way closer than like everyone expected it, right? So I mean, in the first round, like yeah, Kelvin got dropped twice. Kelvin was just getting fucking smoked in the first round. But then in the second round, Kelvin was coming back. And I mean, to be honest, both of them weren't really doing too much. So I don't know who really won that. I kind of thought that Kelvin might have won that second round. And then the third round, like Kelvin obviously won that round. I thought he won that round. So it was a pretty close fight. Like I still think like Joe Pyfer won convincingly. But, I mean, it wasn't like he, did it in, like, a dominant fashion. I still think that, Kelvin just, he stood his ground. And it kind of, like, upsets me a little bit because I think that Kelvin would just do way better if he was in the, like, welterweight division. He just has to diet a little bit. I just think he's way too, like, undersized and, it doesn't really help in his favor because he's, like, 33 now? So, if he just, like, keeps getting older, I don't know if he's really going to be able to handle the bigger middleweights that much longer. But, I mean, he still put up a really, really good fight. And, yeah, I don't know. The betting odds were just weird. Like, that fight was a lot closer than, people were trying to make it out. People were trying to say, like, oh, yeah, Kelvin's going to get smoked in the first round. But, again, Kelvin has a really, really good chin. So, yeah, and then we got the co-main event, and I'm not going to lie, I don't really like to cover women fights because, I don't know, it's haram. No one really cares about them, to be honest with you. Like, we use the women fights for bathroom breaks pretty much, but I was actually kind of interested because I wanted to know, like, why were the betting odds so, like, I think, what's her name, Pena was like a plus 500 underdog, which is insane. And the other girl, like, I'm not gonna lie, she looked super jacked. She looked like Brock Lesnar, pretty much. So, like, I don't know what was up with that. And then, yeah, she pretty much just, like, dominated Pena and got, like, a Kimura at the end. And then she had a post-fight. And then she was talking about, like, single moms and how amazing single moms are. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to get in trouble, but it's kind of cringy, but whatever. But yeah, that I don't really care about, women fights. So we move on to the main event, which is what I really want to talk about. So I thought that Sean O'Malley would actually win this fight because just his aura leading up to the fight, I mean, he just felt like a completely different guy. And it seemed like this time, he matured more. He just seemed more locked in. And I was like, okay, you know what? Merab's not, like, invincible. Because we saw in their first fight at the end, of the 5th round, we saw that Sean O'Malley, like, threw some stabbing teep kicks. And Merab, like, couldn't handle those kicks. He just... like, bro, he was obviously hurt by them, right? So I thought in my head, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe Sean O'Malley could actually pull it off if he actually, probably lands more body shots. And I think if he just puts pressure. Now, Sean O'Malley did something right in the fight, which was to, throw more body shots. I think that was good. The problem with the fight, again, goes back to the first fight where Sean O'Malley is not pressuring enough. Sean O'Malley should have pressured Merab. Because I think if he pressured Merab, I think he would have had a better likelihood of landing a good shot. Thing is, he does this thing where he counters, right? Like, he kind of waits for the other person to come in and then he counters. But that just doesn't work on a dog like Merab. That it really doesn't work on a guy like him. And I think with Merab, even though Merab, has just, like, way better cardio than you, right? I still think you have to walk him down at the end of the day. And I think that's like something that Sean O'Malley just didn't do, and it just really frustrated me. I don't know. I'm not a fighter, so maybe it's a lot harder said than done. But pretty much like in the first round, you know, Sean O'Malley was doing pretty good, was landing shots, and then Merab just takes him down like 2 times in the first round. And immediately, like, I'm just kind of like, okay, you know what? This is not really looking too good. Obviously, still the first round. And then the second round, Sean O'Malley starts to come back. He's actually defending Merab's takedowns, and he's landing shots. You know, Merab is obviously, like, throwing back, which was something that was crazy, that Merab was actually throwing a lot of strikes. Oh, my bad. Oh, no, did I mess this up? Yeah, I'm good. I'm not editing this video, so sorry, guys. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so Merab pretty much, like, was also throwing shots back. Merab was actually doing really good with his shots, but I thought the second round, Sean O'Malley edged it. I thought he won that. And then the third round, just, you know, Merab just takes him down, literally takes him down for like 3 minutes, just controls him for 3 minutes. Sean O'Malley can barely do anything. He can barely get up. He almost gets up. Merab trips him back down. And I think he gets back up for a bit, and then Merab takes him down again. And then out of nowhere, and this was so surprising to me, because I think this is the first time in like his UFC career he submitted someone. So he gets like a like he gets in the north-south position. I forget the name of the choke. It might be called just north-south, but yeah, he gets a submission on Sean O'Malley, and I was really surprised. I was really surprised, especially because he said like, "Yo, I want to like do things better this time around. I actually want to submit him," and he ends up submitting Sean O'Malley, and damn, that is actually insane. I really thought that Sean O'Malley was going to put like a better fight. And I mean, he still did. Like, that's the thing. Sean O'Malley did a really good job with like defending takedowns. And he was throwing more than the first fight, but it just was not enough. And I think Merab is just really, really good. Merab is fucking like incredible. I don't know who is able to stop Merab. Okay, because I thought Umar should have stopped Merab no problem, because, you know, he's from Dagestan, he's a Muslim, you know, alhamdulillah. So, like, because he's from that bloodline, because he's a Nurmagomedov, I thought that he would have beaten Merab easily, but, like, obviously he didn't. Merab beat him. And now that, you know, he beats Sean O'Malley and in better fashion, you know, it doesn't really leave that many options. Like, I don't know who else can genuinely beat him, right? So I think more than likely he's going to be facing Corey Sandhagen next. And if he beats Corey Sandhagen, then by that point, it's like, who else like can actually beat Merab? Because I don't think Peter Yan could beat him, right? I think Merab, you know, might do the same thing that he did with Sean O'Malley. He might end up submitting or knocking out Peter Yan. You never know. You know, there's been talks about like Pantoja moving up. I don't think Pantoja's beating Merab, especially if Pantoja is jumping from 125 to 135 and having to deal with the pressure from Merab. It's not happening, right? The only person I see that could actually beat Merab is Umar in the rematch. But like, once Umar takes up like at least 2 more fights and gets some experience under his belt, because obviously in their fight, like, Umar won the first 2 rounds, and, you know, Umar just started to gas out at the end, wasn't really throwing as crispy shots, and I think he has the tools to beat Merab, you know, a lot better than the other people in the division. But yeah, I just don't really know, though. Like, it's pretty crazy. Merab is just a monster, and it kind of brings me to the question with Sean O'Malley, if Sean O'Malley should just retire, because I'm not gonna lie, he seems really hungry for the belt, but I don't really know if he'd entertain, like, I don't know, you know how he is with his ego. I don't know if he'd really entertain just being on a fight night. I feel like he'd rather have like a pay-per-view card where he's the main event. But you know, either way though, he's like pretty young. He's made a lot of he's made a lot of money. So if he actually ended up retiring, that'd be pretty good. But I think if he doesn't end up retiring, I think he should try to fight probably like someone like Peter Yan. I think if Peter Yan versus Umar Nurmagomedov doesn't happen, I think he should definitely fight Peter Yan, or he should fight someone like Song Yadong. That's who I think. But yeah, though overall, it was a really, really good card. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of good fights. A lot of people were shitting on this card, saying that this card was like not that good of a card, but this card was actually better than it was above average. I felt like it was better than like 315, probably 313, definitely 312. Yeah, I'd say it was probably like one of the better pay-per-views this week. So, this year. So, yeah, overall, it was a really, really good card. And yeah, that's kind of just my reactions to it. There's not really that much else to say. I'm really tired. It's like 2 a.m. right now. I'm so tired, dude. I kind of hate staying out for UFC fights. I'd rather just I wish the fights just happened at like 2 p.m. But it is what it is, you know. Anyway, your boy got to get some sleep. Let me know in the comments below what type of videos you want to see next. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. And remember, my boys, stay active, stay busy, and most of all, stay hungry.